Hi there, this is Cassie from Canon Psychology, and today I wanted to review with you phase 3 from EMDR's 8 phases. So, quick recap. Phase 1 is history taking and treatment planning, so essentially getting to know you, what's driving your symptoms, and then we create a treatment plan as to how to tackle what's been bothering you. I like to start with what's bothering you the most, and then we kind of work back from there. Phase 2 is preparation. So it's just explaining to you what EMDR is, how it works, and we're also getting you prepared emotionally, psychologically for the EMDR experience because we want to make sure that it can be safe for you. The next phase is called assessment, which might be a little confusing since that's kind of what phase 1 sounds like, but assessment is specifically geared towards activating the memory or the neural network that holds the memory that we've decided to work on. So when we've done our treatment plan in phase 2, and if you watch that video, I kind of go through the past, present, future aspect of treatment planning, but we will decide on a specific memory to process. Today I'll kind of use a car accident as an example because that tends to be the least triggering of things that people tend to come to me to work on. So we decide on the target and then we activate that neural network through what's called an assessment. And so I kind of hesitate actually going through this because I don't want to trigger anybody who's watching this. So if you tend to be easily triggered by your memories or really struggle with staying grounded, I recommend you either don't watch this, but if you do feel strongly that you want to really understand how the assessment phase works, I recommend that you have someone that you trust and that's safe nearby that you can kind of go to and get some comfort from if you need it, or some sort of grounding tool. So for example, in a pinch, my clients and I will toss back, a Kleenex box. If you've got a pet nearby, you can kind of hold on to them. Smell tends to work, so any type of lotion, candle, cologne, perfume to kind of just ground you and bring you back. Just have it ready in case you're feeling really activated by what I am describing. So because our brain tends to store memory in either images, beliefs, physical sensations, or emotions, it's usually a combination of all of those. That is what the assessment phase does. I have you bring up the memory. What picture represents the worst part? If we're using a car accident as an example, it would be, depending on the person, it's usually something like the moment I realized that something was wrong, or the moment of impact. So whatever picture represents the worst part. And I know if you're not visual, this is still helpful. It doesn't have to be a vivid picture. It can just be like a general faded picture. I'm not visual, so I can relate to that. The next section after we bring up the image that represents the worst part is what negative belief comes up when we bring up this memory. So it's not the negative belief you had in the moment of the memory that we're working on. It's how has your brain made sense of that memory and how does it affect you now? So in the moment you might have thought, I'm going to die. And actually in the present moment when we bring up the memory, you might feel that way too. But what we're really getting at is how has your brain made sense of this memory? What negative belief do you get about yourself now? So it could be I'm helpless. It could be it's all my fault. Well, if it's all your fault, then what does that mean about you? I'm not a good person, or I'm bad, or I'm weak. So whatever negative belief kind of has been created because of that memory, that's what we're getting after now. So once we've identified the negative belief, we actually now are identifying What would you rather believe about yourself? Could be, I'm strong, I'm okay. In some cases, it might not necessarily be about yourself. We might be trying to tell your brain it's over now. So it just kind of depends, but most of the time it's going to be self-referencing. And that's kind of the rule of thumb, is your negative belief and positive belief. It's called negative cognition and positive cognition, if we're being technical. They need to be self-referencing. There are some specific exceptions to that, but most of the time it's going to be self-referencing. And we also want to identify how true does that positive belief feel to you now, because we kind of use numbers to understand how strong your feelings are. So the reason we get after the positive belief is because we want to get your brain kind of set up to, like, getting pointed in the right direction as to where we want it to go eventually, once we kind of clear out the negative charge or the negative energy of the belief that or of the memory that we're working on. So recap, we've done the image, we've done the negative belief that you have about yourself. We have the positive cognition of how you would like to feel about yourself now. How true do these positive words feel to you now? And then after that, I ask, bring up the memory, the image, the negative belief. What emotions do you get now? I'm also finding out how intense does this memory feel to you right now in this moment. Not when it happened, but right here, sitting in this chair with me, how uncomfortable does this feel to you out of 10? And I'll say 10 is like the most hysterical you could be, and 0 is neutral. Like, you don't really have much about it. You're kind of tired of me bringing up the memory. What number are you at on that scale? After that, I then am asking, where do you feel all of this in your body? Because we want to access where this trauma has been stored in your body. A really good book is called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, I think. I might have gotten those words wrong, but The Body Keeps the Score is a really good book about basically how our body actually holds trauma physically. And so because we're going to store memories in different ways, images, emotions, physical sensations, beliefs, that's why we're reactivating all of those in the assessment phase. Remembering that there's no right or wrong. I've had some people actually process their traumatic memories with majority physical before. And that's typically in situations where you don't quite really remember what happened, but something happened. I see this the most with people who were roofied and then sexually assaulted. So it's like they don't remember all that much, but they remember the feeling of being paralyzed or unable to move. In those types of memory trauma processing sessions, a lot of the processing is actually processing the physical memory of not being able to move, and then any emotions really connected with that. So that is the basic assessment: image, negative belief, positive belief you would like to believe. How true does that feel to you now? What emotions do you get out of 10? How upsetting does this feel to you now? And where do you feel it in your body? After that, we then get started with phase 4, which is called desensitization. And that will be a different blog and video. Well, thanks for watching. Hope that helps.